Hey guys, the counter Sarah doing another action figure review. Now before I proceed, I just need to say that these reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13, just to abide by the FTA and COPA rules. And for this review, I am reviewing one of the McFarlane Mortal Kombat figures. Now, I haven't picked up too many of these. I really just have this guy, and I have a pre-order for Baraka. As they're just some of my favorite characters. I know there's Raiden, Scorpion. I think there's someone else released. I know Spawn is part of this line because it's McFarlane, and it's the Spawn figure is supposed to be the Mortal Kombat 11 version, or from Mortal Kombat, which it's also the regular Spawn and kind of video game Spawn rolled into one. And then there's I think they announced or hinted at a Shao Kahn figure, which I'm assuming is going to be a deluxe because of the size of the character. I think he's going to be a fairly big figure. But overall, this is a video review for the Sub-Zero character. So, moving the figure aside, he comes in a window box packaging. Now, his display stand is behind him in the box. I'm not sure you can see it. You can see it's kind of, there's a bit of a tear on the back of the box. It's because it's attached onto the back of the card as opposed to just behind the plastic shell. You have an image of the character down here, which is an image of the figure, I believe. Ages 14 and up. Not a toy. You got Sub-Zero, and then you got the Mortal Kombat logo. Again, Mortal Kombat on the top. It doesn't actually say it's Mortal Kombat 11. It just has a plain Mortal Kombat logo. Again, picture the figure on the side of the box. The McFarlane Toys logo. All the legal mumbo-jumbo stuff at the bottom. Then you got the McFarlane Toys, McFarlane.com. Sub-Zero figure posed. Comes with 22 moving parts. And then it has Mortal Kombat and McFarlane Toys again. And then on the opposite side of the box, it's just another side profile image and the Mortal Kombat logo again. So, before I get onto the figure, I'm just going to bring in the old tape measure so I can make a measurement of him. So he stands just a little over 7 inches, give or take. He's pretty much on par with the 7-inch line. So, accessory-wise, getting this out of the way, is a fairly plain, boring stand with one peg, nothing on the back, and just has a printed on Mortal Kombat logo. It's not a sculpted one. It would have been cool if they had sculpted the dragon logo onto it as a stand. But figure has a peg hole on both feet, so you can have them on one or the other, but makes more sense to have him on the right foot because then he's kind of standing with the logo facing you. Other accessories, just pop them out of his hand. He comes with 2 axes. Just get him to stand again after taking that off. 2 frost axes, which are done in a really nice translucent blue for choppy action. So they're identical from what I can tell. There's no difference between the two of them. The only difference is that you have to put one on either hand. And then he comes with this frozen, let's get it focus on it. It's a skull with spinal cord, and its eye is still hanging out of its eye socket, and it's all frozen in translucent blue. Kind of similar to one of the accessories from one of the older Sub-Zero figures that I have. Well, I only have one other one, which is a broken figure from the, it's like a SDC exclusive. I can't remember which line did it. I think it was the Palisades line, but it was a kind of clear. In fact, if I just bring him in his brokenness, it's this one. It's a smaller scale. It's a 6-inch scale figure. Unfortunately, his leg has snapped off on him. But this guy came with something similar. It was a frozen head of, I think it was supposed to be Scorpion's head, frozen, with a severed head of one of the other ninjas. Unfortunately, I'm just going to have to leave him lie flat there in behind. So, onto the figure itself. Just get a good look at the figure. He looks really cool. Haven't played the new game, so I'm not too sure this is the original Sub-Zero or if it's one of the many other iterations. As far as I remember, it was like the original Sub-Zero died, and storyline wise, I think someone else took over the mantle of Sub-Zero. There's a lot of lore that I'm not familiar with the Mortal Kombat line. It's the figure for me is what kind of popped, that I really like the design. I'm not a huge fan of the Scorpion design. Usually these guys were like mirror images of each other. Scorpion would look very similar to Sub-Zero and vice versa, whereas in this new one they look a little bit different. So articulation wise, his head is on a ball joint, so you can look up. Looks weird if you kind of look up, because you can see a flesh colored peg, but it's not an actual neck, it's just a big large peg that runs up to his head. You can look down, you can look side to side, you can get a bit of a tilt on it, so you can get some good posing. It is hindered somewhat by his armor pieces, which are basically attached over a shell. You can see there's a waist crunch up here as well, which is unusable because of the way the figure is sculpted. He has butterfly joints in the arms, which are kind of nicely hidden. You can see them a bit better on the side. This one seems a bit more freer than my left arm. The left arm has extra flashing on it, so it does hinder his motion, unfortunately. They are ratcheted shoulders. He has an upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. His hands are on a swivel with a peg, and that peg has a hinge, so you can rotate the peg to the desired position, and then you have in and out, or you can rotate it to have up and down, depending on which way you want to have the hand situated. He does have splits, but are hindered by this waist piece. Again, it's a kind of pliable, but it's fairly solid as well at the same time. You can just see the hip joints that they have. He has a slight swivel on the upper thigh, but it's not a great one. Then he has double jointed knees, which are pretty good. If I can get the other joint to move, you can get nearly full 90 degree on it. It's hindered by the pant sculpting. You have rocker at the ankle. Again, it's a similar situation as with the arms. So you can swivel the ball peg and you can give it a side out, or you can swivel it to have forward and back. He does have kind of a tilt then on the ankle still, and he has broken toe. He has a toe articulation, so you can get him to kind of do some running poses and stuff like that, should you so wish. He does have a swivel as well, hidden quite nicely underneath here. So you have that, which I suppose makes up for the lack of articulation on the actual hip part. So if you wanted to, you can have him in some dynamic poses. Just get him to stand in those dynamic poses without aid of his figure stand. It would be nice. So you can get him to stand in somewhat dynamic poses. So unfortunately, he does have all these sheaths with extra swords and daggers and stuff on him, but none of them are removable. It would have been nice if the larger ones were removable and he could wield them. I get why the kind of small side ones aren't, but it would have been nice. You see his back sculpting. It's quite nice. And then, oops, I just get his hands. What's interesting as well is the hands that they gave him actually have trigger fingers on them. So his index finger or trigger finger is actually a separate sculpt to the rest of the hand. So if you had something that had a gun, you could possibly get him to hold it with a trigger finger. I won't do it here, but like, I'm assuming these hands will be reused for other characters, possibly for ones that use weapons, like pistol style weapons or handgun style weapons. Can't remember off the top of my head if any of the characters use kind of weapons like that, but it is there. And you can have him holding his trusty axes. If I remember correctly, the axes that he creates are made from the ice that he uses. I don't think they're like physical axes. He just creates them from the ice forms that he uses in game. That could have changed, but I remember the old one just creating kind of more spear type things, and then blades, axes with the ice when he's doing his special moves and stuff like that. So again, I'm not a huge I wouldn't say I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I enjoy the games, but I wouldn't know much about the history of every character or lore or anything like that. But overall, I really like the characters, and some of the designs are cool. As I said, Sub-Zero, Ninja is pretty cool. And then just for size comparison, here he is standing alongside, just move his base out of the way, the Vasquez Kenner version from NECA. I have one of the Fortnite 7-inch scale figures, which is Night Bomber, if I remember correctly. And then just for another size comparison, grab without knocking everything over, is one of the Predators from, this is Enforcer, remember? The single carded version of Enforcer, not the 2-pack one that came with Bad Blood. So you have that for scale. He's pretty much should be on par with what a 7-inch scale figure, human scale figure should be, even though if I remember correctly they're more supernatural characters than actual humans. But overall, really good figure. I picked this guy up from, I want to say, Big Bad Toy Store. Pretty sure that's where I got him. I can't remember off the top of my head. He should be still available on most retailers at the time of this recording, but you might have to go the whole eBay route, or third-party seller sort of route if you want to get one. I know some of them have sold out. Some of the characters sold out pretty fast. Some didn't. I do have Scorpion on the way at some point, and I do, as I said, have Baraka on pre-order for when he comes out. I think there is also the other one that they announced, and I haven't seen a pre-order for it yet, and I probably will get her, is Katana. Is it Katana? I think that's how you pronounce her name. It's the female one with the mask that she pulls down. She has a big, weird teeth mouth thing going on. So I know I'm kind of just waffling now at this stage. So I'll just end the video here. I hope you enjoyed this video review. And as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.